You never seen a podcast this good for this long.
You better believe it. Wait, hold on. Let me get my business.
Do your thing.
Right back like you never know it. Come on, man. Talk to me.
Man, what more can we say?
Yeah.
The podcast. I go by the name Radio God Stu. To the left of me, my main man.
Jalen is back in the building. I'm not going to do first name, last names, all those governments and all that. Y'all got that, so I'm chilling. It's just Jalen here. Let's go.
Yep. So, this is where we talk to the culture and the culture talks back, man.
sure.
And jumping things off, man. We're going to get right into it, bro.
Okay.
The trial of the century. It seems like, you know what I'm saying? It's every day you log on to TMZ, you log on to the Shade Room.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's updates every day about this trial.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we're talking about the one and only Sean Combs, P. Diddy.
Take that. Yeah, no.
His RICO case. The feds is trying to throw my man under the jail.
Yeah.
They releasing all type of evidence, all type of testimony, witnesses,
The most recent thing I read, did you see the thing with 50 baby mom?
No.
So 50 Cent's baby mom apparently was one of the women who was involved with Diddy, pretty heavily. And so she was a big part of the freak offs and everything. So to me, the most recent news that I saw was she's been in there on the stand and stuff, like kind of speaking to the fact of her relationship with him, what they kind of went through, her role in the freak offs, and then which even kind of spun off into some rumors allegedly about her messing with Kanye being the reason for the breakup.
So
and all
that's why Kanye pulled up.
Yeah. You gotta make sure my name is clear. You feel
your
me?
man's pulled up to court.
Yeah. No. So the whole thing has kind of been crazy so far, and I think we kind of touched on this last episode, but when you look at somebody like Puff, who's had that stature in the culture, this whole thing has just been kind of super surreal to me in general.
Yeah, because when you have a mogul of his stature going through this, it's like, how can you feel safe being successful as a black man in America? Because they gonna come for you.
Do you think he's being targeted? You believe that shit?
Absolutely. And I feel like it all started once, that Diageo situation happened where he called them out for not promoting the tequila brand like they were promoting Casamigos and the other brands. And it was like, when he did it, I was almost kind of like, you sure you want to do that, my man? I don't think that'd be something that
people
you
were
might wanna
saying that's
do.
a big power move too for you to even try to go against a company of that stature, because they're like one of the leaders in tequila, aren't they?
Yeah, they're like the main
ones, right?
distributor of all the liquor brands. So it's like you're going up against that corporate giant. You know what I'm saying? That you're basically a glorified employee of.
No, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
But I don't like these narratives, bro. Like, to me, could he have been being targeted? Yes, that's possible. But at the same point in time, I feel like we've seen enough evidence from text messages to the hotel hallway video, stories from people who have now felt more comfortable coming out since that time, that it kind of seems to me like it's obvious that this was doing foul. Like, he was doing dirt. So it's not, to me, a question of if he's guilty or not, but maybe more so what the sentencing looks like on the other side of this.
For me, I have a whole totally different perspective on it. I feel like they're charging him with things in the wrong court. You know what I'm saying? I feel I feel like the federal charges, they're not really I'm not really seeing federal charges now. I feel like it should have been tried in a state court on battery and domestic violence and terroristic threats and all that stuff. And they would have probably gave that boy 20 years.
Well, I think some of that stuff too gets caught up and I should have probably looked this up better, but to my knowledge, when you kind of get into the realm of sex trafficking and stuff like that, that to me, I think is where it goes from
sex trafficking, bro? I feel like you flying people out to fulfill your orgies and fulfill your fantasies, bro. That's not really sex trafficking.
Listen, brother, that's what the government say. I ain't got no control over that.
That's just, you know what I'm saying? Fly lifestyle stuff right there. You know what I'm saying?
But I think that when you get into, and this is what's always been interesting to me, because I hear people kind of harp on this point sometimes about oh, these are grown women, at the end of the day,
they were willing participants,
and I do believe that
in some fashion they were willing volunteers.
I believe that there are a larger majority than we'd like to believe that were willing participants, and I do think that there's aspects of that, but I do also think that we heavily discount, particularly as men, bro, like the power dynamic or the wealth dynamic.
Yeah, for sure.
That plays a whole big factor into I'm seeing some people oh no, I don't even know why Cassie talking. She was with all X, Y, and Z and da-da-da. And so I'm sure that there was a period of time where she was with that. But I also think that when you create this fear that Puffy kind of created, you confuse consent for this is just kind of how I get down and this is just the world that I've created for myself. And anybody who's around me, they're choosing to be a part of the world just because they're choosing to be around me. And I don't think that that's how it works all the time.
That's a very good point. I did not look at it like that.
Oh, I appreciate you, brother. I do my little thing every now and then. But yeah, no. So I think that to me the biggest thing, and like I said, bro, it's so surreal just because of growing up. It's Diddy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like Diddy, Dre, Hove. Like these are like the pillars of hip hop for us and our OGs that have really continued to remain relevant outside of when they were, super, super relevant as far as releasing music. Like Diddy hasn't really. I know he had an album like right before he got locked up.
Love album. The Love album. That was a banger.
Straight. It did sound straight. And it felt like he was kind of trying to make that foray back into music for real because it's been a minute since he's had something that really stood the test of time.
Right.
So it's been interesting seeing how he's been moving and shaking so far, especially when this case has come out and you see all these details just kind of trickling out slowly, and it's just like, man, he's cooked. It's over. There's no way. I just can't really see a scenario.
Puff ain't gonna walk.
Nah, I don't think so,
he ain't
bro.
Gonna Diddy bop out the courtroom?
Nah, he gonna be under that jail, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. And it's crazy because I think the more that these details come out, I do think you'll kind of see a shift in the public narrative. Because initially when he got locked up, nobody could believe that Diddy of all people would even be capable of something in this realm. So
I never put it past them.
Yeah.
But I was just hoping that the rumors and the conspiracy theorists of there's underage girls involved and all, I was praying that none of that was true.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I didn't totally just negate the fact that he could have been doing some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
You just heard when there's too many of the same stories going around.
Smoke is fire.
Yeah, it's something going on.
Yeah.
But I was just hoping that it wasn't going to the depths of which people were making it seem oh man, there were underage girls and they were raping Justin Bieber and all this.
I started seeing that.
I was hoping that none of that stuff was true and come to light none of that stuff really happened. He's just a overly sexually freaky person, and I don't necessarily think that it's a crime. But he's just weird sexually.
Bleeding, but when you start bleeding realities, it goes from being freaky to starting to, you get into the terms of holding people against their will or blackmail or using that power to kind of create an environment that's more comfortable for you and completely uncomfortable for everybody else. So it's tough. And obviously I can't speak from this place of personal experience, but I think it's just tough. The bigger you get, the more people you have around you that are comfortable with creating that environment and being participants in whatever you got going on.
Yeah. Well, Diddy, we're going to wish the best for you and your family, man. I'm friends with his kids. His kids are cool, man. Quincy, my boy.
Shout out to them guys, man. But I don't know about shout out to Diddy. Hey, look, man,
we're innocent until proven guilty. We're going to let the man have his day in court.
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying?
Switching over, though, I know this is a tough segue, but switching over to impact on the culture, bro, I want to talk to you about this. You listen to this Carter 6?
My boy Weezy, F Baby.
Oh man,
I definitely listened to it. I gave it a few listens.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? I gave it a few listens, and I've come to the conclusion that Lil Wayne just hasn't grown up.
Yeah,
I feel like we've all grown up, and Lil Wayne just hasn't grown up. You know what I'm saying? Not that the album was super terrible. It just there was just no progression in his music. You know what I'm saying? It's still the sex, money, weed bars, you know what I'm saying? And his punchlines, it's cool.
Weezy F and the F don't stand for nothing, they stand with an F.
You know what I'm saying?
Weezy F and the F stands for please finish the album for real, because there's no way. For me, to your point, Wayne can still rap.
Right.
That's very apparent. Everybody knows that. From the verses, particularly in the last year or so, really with them boys with Griselda, anytime he do a verse, a verse with Conway,
he got to come with it.
Yeah, he's spanking shit. So to me, it's not a question about the bars, bro, but more so, let me kind of backtrack. I was already irritated up front because I felt like the promo wasn't where it needed to be for Wayne. You know how many people I talked to 2-3 weeks before the album came out, and I'm like, oh damn, I'm excited, bro. Wayne's getting ready to come out, and everybody's like, coming out with what? Nobody even knew that he was dropping the album. So that already to me was kind of like one of those omens, or kind of like a little bit of foreshadowing. Damn, it is kind of weird that and it's Carter 6. This is not some random project. This is a legacy project. One of those ones that in the span of our culture, you're going to look back at the Carter series the way you look back at a lot of these great albums that we've had before us. So it's interesting to me that he already wasn't getting that push. There was no singles, videos, nothing. It was just they was just dependent on everybody to just fall in line because it's Wayne.
You know what? To your point, and I feel like Wayne kind of brought this on himself a little bit.
Yeah.
With the whole my life matters when he wasn't like standing with the people, you know what I'm saying, during the protests, and it was just like my life matters and da da da. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he turned a lot of people off.
Yeah.
So it was like, all right, now that you got something to sell, you got something that you want to make money off of, don't try to like, you know what I'm saying? Because we ain't trying to hear it right now.
And I think to that point, bro, and I was thinking about this too, when I guess kind of getting into the actual album, raps outside of that, the production to me is probably what's lacking the most. Because when I'm listening to this, it's so clear to me, bro. Like I keep hearing these voices in my head from over the years when Wayne would say things to the effect of like, you know, oh, well, Watch the Throne, I've never even heard of that before. Or Not Like Us, I've never even heard that. What song is that? And you keep hearing his team over the years say stuff like, oh, well, you know, Wayne's not super in touch with X, Y, and Z, and he doesn't really pay attention. He's in his own world and
Wayne's
stuff like
world.
that. Right, yeah. And so that's dope. But to me, at the same point in time, it's like, you got to find a different way to get involved and have people around you that at least understand what's going on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the biggest thing. Like, he could be in his own world and do his thing, and that's cool, but somebody around him has to let him know what's current. Like, even if I'm looking through the features now, bro, like, no disrespect, but nobody wants to hear Wayne and Jelly Roll. Nobody want to hear Wayne.
Shout out to Jelly Roll, man.
Nah, shout out to bro.
Jelly
He's
Roll.
talented, but nobody want to hear
man.
Wayne and Jelly Roll. Nobody want to hear Wayne and Andrea Bocelli. Like, and these are talented artists of a very high caliber. That probably would have been something that might have worked more in his 08 era, in my opinion. But when you're thinking about today's day and age, the most current feature he had was Big X The Plug. And Big X actually smoked that verse for sure. But I would have liked to have heard him do maybe something more with Griselda. We got no Drake record. We didn't get the Nicki feature until she did the Band from NO remix. Yeah. And even then, I'm gonna let you talk.
He really took Nori's whole verse.
Well, and that had me hot too because we've heard Banned from TV. But he did Banned from TV off of No Ceilings.
He did that on No Ceilings.
And so I'm listening to this shit and I'm like, bro, there's no way this just rapped over the same beat again. Right. I've already heard this before. So I already really wasn't feeling his flow on that too. So to me, it's, you know, the raps were tight and the raps were decent, but the production has to take a step up. And I'm just disappointed in general that this is the project that kind of we got, like I said, from a legacy series like the Carter.
Speaking of Wayne, you heard his son?
Oh, yeah. Where he was saying that, he said that Wayne wrote for Drake. What you think about that? You believe that?
I absolutely, totally believe it.
For real?
I 1000% believe it.
When do you think that would have stopped though?
I don't know. I can't give you like a timetable of when, but like I feel like first album, second album, possibly the third album
for Drake.
For Drake, I feel like Wayne.
Wait, hold on, time out. No.
Wayne was penning some stuff for your mans.
Time out. You think Wayne wrote a lot of Take Care?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Damn. I ain't gonna lie. So like when the Rico thing happened, with Rico being the verse with him and Meek Mill and the whole ghostwriting stuff coming out, I wasn't as bothered by the accusations, I guess, for certain records, or I guess for maybe like some later projects, because I didn't feel like the hunger was there or the artistry was there necessarily on some of his later works. Like I think you kind of start getting into, and I've talked about this before, you kind of start getting to a place with some of these artists where they're just unloading the clip and everything feels like a playlist, and you kind of get less away from the conceptual or the more focused albums. So to me, like, I don't know, bro. Like, I just don't. It blows me because I just can't wrap my mind around the biggest part of Drake's career being something that somebody else pretty much is all the way pinned. It doesn't make sense to me. If I found out that Wayne wrote Take Care, that'd be a nail in the coffin.
And what was the one after that? And then there's
Nothing Was the Same.
Nothing Was the Same.
You think he wrote that too?
I feel like
chill, nigga. What you saying?
My man was kind of in Wayne's pockets with the punchlines and the bars and stuff with the raps. I feel like Wayne really had something to do with that.
Listen,
as well.
Listen.
And I ain't the biggest Drake fan anyway. I don't like
you
light
ain't
skin
gotta
ass
be,
anyway.
but you're tripping. Here's what I'm saying. Like, I don't have a way to say this definitively one way or the other because I wasn't in the studio with the nigga. But if Drake didn't write those albums, which to me are deemed to be his most personal and probably, I don't guess if you would say classics, Take Care, Nothing Was the Same are two of the few classics that he does have in his catalog. To find out somebody else wrote those would be heartbreaking. I wouldn't know how to recover. You telling me
cancel Christmas, nigga.
You telling me Drake didn't write, like, I'm trying to think of songs like Good Ones Go. The interlude? Like, you telling me Drake didn't write his verse on, what was the one with Ross?
I'm not saying that he didn't. I'm not saying that he didn't write. I'm saying that
Oh, he was getting help?
he was getting help.
You think Nicki got help too? When she
I
was
think
doing
Nicki
her?
got help.
Oh my God.
I think
You
Nicki
being
got
slanderous.
help.
Chill out, my nigga.
I think Nicki got help.
Nah, I can't jack that one.
what
I'm
I'm
not gonna lie. Nah. I do think Nicki is actually one of the few women in all of hip hop that actually has stood on her pen. Like over the years, she's been nasty with it. Now again, we don't have no proof one way or the other, but I'm just telling you, I think you are way off key with this.
Man, you know who I do believe in though?
Who?
Big Glow.
Oh, you like some of the shit she been
Big
doing?
Glow. Honestly, I like all the women rappers right now. I feel like the women rapper wave right now
Going crazy.
It's just going crazy.
It
It's never been more prevalent
This is
in
the
hip hop
summer.
than now. This era totally belongs to the women, and I love it.
This is the summer of women's music. Like,
Absolutely.
bro, I was just talking to one of my homies recently. Like, to me, Nokia by Drake is possibly song of the summer. But I think heavy competition with it right there is that Whim Whammy. I ain't gonna
Whim
lie.
Whammy.
Yeah, that Lululemon. That shit going up for sure. No, that shit going up. I fuck with that song. And Shorty Pluto, she's from Atlanta too.
From the
So
A.
yeah, so I like what they doing. Now, I ain't gonna go too heavy into it, but I don't know if you heard. Did you ever hear the kind of controversy behind the record originally when she had taken off the other chick that was featured with her, YK Niece?
Nah.
So essentially,
I just got the TikTok version that went
Yeah.
crazy.
So what I gathered is that it was Pluto featuring YK Niece. They're on the original version of the Whim Whammy joint, and I think it was Lotto and Sexy Red were supposed to jump on the remix, and for whatever reason, I don't know if it was an industry call. Well, it kind of made it seem like it was a personal thing, but whether it was a decision between Pluto and the label or whatever the case may be, they took Shorty off of the song
for
in
sure.
order to make room for the other two chicks. And so it kind of created this weird energy. And I think Lotto ended up backing off the record altogether just because she didn't like the optics of everything.
I mean, that happens all the time. Like
Yeah.
you'll have an artist, me and you will go in the studio. You know what I'm saying? I'll get a deal, and the record label will feel like, well, who's that? He's not signed to us. We're not about to put money and marketing into this for him to blow up.
So
for
you
him
think
to
that's
sign.
fair?
I'm just saying that that's business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whether it's fair or not,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's just business. And that happens a lot. You know what I'm saying? More than we probably actually know. You know what I'm saying? Where there may be like another artist that may have been on a song, but once the label signs it and the label's cutting the check, they become in control.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're not going to spend money promoting an artist or a song with an artist that's not signed to us that we're not making no money off of, because now we're just promoting somebody for free.
Yeah, I guess the only way I look at that, and I don't know the behind the scenes, but my whole thing is like, bro, if you came into the game with one of your people and the record that y'all got popping up, because it's not like it's Pluto featuring YK Niece, it's Pluto and YK Niece. So from my perspective, that means that both of y'all shared ownership over the record. So to just strip her off and do that industry move, now again, I'm hoping that that's just a straight label thing. But if
for
you're
sure.
doing that individually, that's foul.
For sure,
That's foul, and there's no two ways about it.
Nah, I wouldn't put that on Shorty. I'll put that totally on the labels and the execs and whoever was getting the check for booking them other features and all that type of shit. Like, I wouldn't put that on her.
Shout out to Pluto though, because that Whim Whammy is going stupid. I ain't gonna lie. Anytime I'm outside, and that's the thing too that I like a lot. Women, to me, outside of them doing the music right now, they bring it outside. They bring all the energy for outside. So
Absolutely.
So even when you get records like this, it feels like summer didn't really get started until I started hearing this or that what's the other joint that I'm so ATL. Yeah, I keep hearing that shit too. And shout out to Shorty. I think her name is Bankroll Nee. She's from she's from Atlanta too. Yeah, so those two records been going crazy, especially like TikTok, clubs, all that. So it's interesting to me when I look at the general culture and kind of what causes us to move in different directions. And to me, it's always been the women that have been the catalyst for, if it's them being outside themselves that brings the outside, or you know what I'm saying, or anytime that they start gravitating to a certain record, that's the one that really starts to go, because they're gonna do the dances, they're gonna be in the car. I know chicks that will play like that Burning Blue record by Mariah the Scientist. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard that song, bro.
100 million times.
And it's exclusively from women that I follow. And they'll repost the song on their story. They gonna post it on. They post a picture. Burning Blue is the background on that. They post it on the little notes, the whole thing. So it is wild, bro. Like anytime women get involved, it feels like the energy just goes way up. Anytime for anything in music,
Specifically, black women.
Yeah, not for sure. Yeah,
Specifically, black women.
Yeah.
And specifically, more specific to that, black women between the ages of 18 to like 35.
not real.
They dictate what moves in the culture. There's nothing that moves in popular culture without black women ages 18 to 35, bro.
Shit, yeah. Nah, when I was younger, it wasn't. We would have parties and it's like, okay, you cool and you chilling with the. But what really used to go up was the twerkathons.
The twerkathons, boy.
Oh my God.
Oh, but my homeboys used to have to hold me back. Nigga, hold me back.
Yeah,
hold me
for
back.
sure.
Hold me, nigga. What do you mean, sonny?
Nigga.
Of course.
That's a fact. You go in that bitch, once you start getting experiencing that motherfucker, you start going in with sweatpants and all type of shit. Just being like, just posted up on the wall, arms folded, like, nigga, I'm about to get the
I'm looking for the chick with the chucks on.
Yeah.
Whoever had the chucks on, I'm getting behind her, nigga. When she start going crazy,
what's crazy?
I'm getting all that twerk.
The craziest shit is though, and I know you done had this before, so if anybody try to lie, I'm on your ass. Mm-hmm. The craziest shit though is, and this ain't happened frequently, but you ever seen when Shorty be dancing and she turn around?
Oh.
And she's like, I don't think so.
Hey, once she stick that tongue out,
start bumping this other way to the left and shit. That shit is crazy. I done seen several times though, chicks would just show up in just groups with their homegirls talking about, oh no, I just came here to dance with my friend. Go home.
Go home.
or go to your homegirl's house.
Like, nigga, I ain't come here to dance with my homeboys.
First, yeah, talk heavy. That's a fact.
So what I'm saying, so like, what the hell are we doing here?
Whole shit is a game. And speaking of games. Come on, man.
Oh, man. Come on now.
Time to pay the piper, my guy.
Oh, yeah. I knew you was going to bring this shit up.
You said, now hold on. I wish in moving forward, we're going to have to do like a little playback or something. But you said, I want fries, don't like being high, Nixon 5 or some shit like that. Go ahead. No, say that again. Say that little cute little saying you were saying. Because I was confused on what the hell you were talking about when I'm looking at the Pacers and I'm like, come on, what is this guy watching?
Pacers got lucky.
Oh my God.
They got lucky. That lucky bounce ass shot at the end of game 1.
That was crazy.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the Knicks weren't able to recover. And then Tibbs just totally got outcoached. And that's why that is looking for a new job now.
I will give you your credit. That's tough. I will give you your credit though, because we were talking about Tibbs and I was expressing some interest on how he would be doing with his rotations. Mm-hmm. And to his credit, about halfway or earlier in the part of the series, he did start playing people. Yeah, so that did help. But I still think that this current Knicks team, and I guess kind of transition to why Tibbs might have got fired, this team seems like it has a chance to go do a chip. Or to go to a chip at least. Not win one maybe, but they have a chance to go to one, particularly when you look at, the Pacers being in the finals now and Game 7 coming right up before you know it. And then next year, the Celtics ain't going to have Jason Tatum. So the East is just wide open. Yeah.
The East is wide open right now. I will say that. I mean, I feel like Cleveland is gonna come back better. I feel like Orlando is gaining traction a little bit.
That Bane pickup was tough.
And I feel like Detroit, do not sleep on the Detroit Pistons. We played them in the first round, so we were able to see up close and personal that that's a young team and they got a good coach. And I feel like next season, be on the lookout for the Detroit Pistons. The
Pistons were tough this year too. And I felt like if they could just get themselves, because I like the Thompson kid. He's tough. He's uber athletic. He's going to be one of them ones, but I think it'll help them in general just if they can get Cade with another, even if it's not a superstar, a star or a player that can kind of take some of the heat off him. Because to me, even with, I believe is it Amen Thompson? Amen Thompson is the one that's in Detroit. Yeah. He started kind of flashing a little bit towards the end of the series and getting a little bit more aggressive. Because my whole thing is this, bro. Who are you taking a backseat to on that team besides Cade Cunningham?
Nobody.
So when I'm watching him and I'm like, you one of the most athletic I've ever seen in my life. Why are you going out there and letting Jalen Duren take 10 shots? Or you letting Tobias Harris get up 15 shots? Yeah, like this don't even make sense. So I do hope that the Pistons kind of start to come into form. But back to the Knicks, because I'm not done being on your ass.
That's cool.
You tell me what the future looks like for this team, considering also when you look at the usage for Brunson, right? It felt like Tibbs was more comfortable letting him go, put up 1,000 shots, and play however many minutes. And you would have to anticipate that the next coach moving forward will have a little bit more balance to what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's my man Jeff Teague was like, yo, Tibbs really don't even coach like that. All he just be is like, goddamn. But you up. But like he really doesn't coach.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But moving forward with the Knicks, I just got one word. Giannis.
You think y'all could get Giannis?
Giannis.
He'll change the forecast in that for sure.
Giannis, nigga. We get Giannis, nigga. Go ahead and just wrap that trophy up and deliver that motherfucker to Madison Square Garden, nigga. I don't want to hear once we get Giannis.
Now,
bro.
I don't want to.
We have to. We ain't got no choice. We got to go get Giannis, bro. If we want to win a chip, we got to go get Giannis. You know what I'm saying? It was either him or KD, and I feel like ownership is holding their nuts on KD because KD wants to come to the Knicks, but they're holding their nuts on KD because of that free agency summer where him and Kyrie went to Brooklyn instead of coming to
and shit
Madison
got
Square
fucked up
Garden.
there too.
And can you imagine? Can you imagine how like fucked up the Knicks would be in the media if KD and Kyrie went to New York and they didn't win no playoff series?
Listen,
in 4 years, them niggas won no playoff series.
Yeah.
And they traded for James Harden.
Yeah.
They had a squad and they didn't win.
KD's pinky toe still being on that line fucked everything up though that 1 year. But I do understand your point. I guess for me, what do you think it would cost though? And I don't want to go too salary cap on these niggas, but what do you think, I guess even player wise, that you would have to give up for a nigga like Giannis? Because it ain't going to be light.
Oh, we're going to have to give up Mikal Bridges. I give up Mikal Bridges.
Well, you're not giving up much of
I'm
nothing.
giving up Mitchell Robinson, and I love Mitchell Robinson, but Mitch got to go.
When you gonna name a nigga of value?
And you're gonna give up OG Anunoby.
Okay, now you're talking. Okay.
You're gonna have to give up one of 3 players.
Yeah.
Three starting quality players for them.
Yeah.
You got to give up those 3.
Would you give up Cat?
And I was about to say, if it ain't one of them, you would have to throw in Cat. It'd have to be Cat, Mitchell, and Anunoby, or Cat, Mitchell, and Mikal Bridges.
Is Cat somebody that you would want to? I mean, for Giannis, you would do damn near anything. I understand that, but is Cat somebody that you actually want to move?
No, I don't.
Okay.
If I could keep Brunson and Cat and add Giannis, that's what I'm.
When Brunson started locking in too, once he started locking in a little bit more with the guys on his team, like I like OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby and Mikal, they kind of confuse me because they're like the prototypical size and length for what you would want out of your wing defenders and wing players. But it feels like both of them is difficult for them to get it up and to get going each night. And Brunson, he got the ultimate green line shit, so it's kind of like, damn,
it's like the offense just runs through Brunson, and if it ain't running through him, then it's running through Cat. But Cat doesn't have like a post-up game. Cat is going, you know what I'm saying? He's going to back you down, but he's going to face up.
But a lot of these bigs
he's going to pull up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the art of the post-up game, that shit is
I can't stand
is out the way.
And the biggest thing what I don't like about it though is you'll look at a nigga who's 7 foot with a matchup on him that's like 6'4", 6'3".
Nigga, if you don't post that nigga up,
that shit be blowing me. And instead of even trying to do a post up, it's like I'm gonna settle for a turnaround jumper or I'm passing the ball out and like that. Like for example, I know Josh Hart is tough, and I
like
understand
Josh Hart.
He has some size to him, so I fuck with that. But
I like Josh.
There were times where I'm looking and I'm like, bro, why is Miles Turner allowing Josh Hart to check him in 1-on-1, and there's nobody even trying to make It didn't make no sense. I couldn't stand watching that. So yeah, shout out to the Knicks for taking that Helsinki. I ain't gonna lie to you.
We coming back next year, man.
Yeah, I know. Now let's do a quick little preview here. What do you think Game 7 looks like for this Pacers Thunder game?
SGA gonna have to go off.
Yeah.
SGA gonna have to be that man.
Yeah.
And Jalen Williams gonna have to help him.
Yeah.
You know
I think stats aside, bro, Shay's been doing the thing from the box score perspective, but when I've been looking at his impact on the game to game, I haven't been feeling it like that. I think that the Pacers, to me, something that I kind of spoke about with the Knicks series is they have the more complete team. They got TJ McConnell going crazy right now. Andrew Nembhard, to me, he hasn't been going crazy in this series, but he's one of those guys that it wouldn't surprise me if he go out in Game 7 and put up 20 plus.
And what's the other light skinned nigga that they got? Spencer.
Who you talking about?
They got one light skinned nigga that be coming off the bench too, that be going crazy.
Not Obi Toppin. Are you talking about?
Obi Toppin, and then it's another one. It's another one too. It's another like 2 guard that be coming off the bench. Like
Ben Shepherd.
Ben Shepherd.
Yeah.
Ben Shepherd.
I was gonna kill me for the whole day.
He be coming off the bench, and he be like, it's like they don't put up big numbers. They just make plays when the plays need to be made, and they be like, damn, like I gotta let this do that. I gotta let this nigga get off like that.
Nah, for real.
Like, you know
especially because, bro, I be scrolling through my prospects looking, and I'm like, okay, who am I gonna take tonight? I might go with Tyrese Halliburton, but this don't feel like scoring sometimes. I might go with Pascal Siakam because he actually be trying to get his shit off. But to your point, the rest of these guys, like I said, any given night, Benedict Mathurin might go for 30 in Game 7, and ain't nobody gonna blink an eye.
Right.
So That's going to be interesting to watch, bro. For me personally, my pick right now would probably be the Pacers because I don't think the Thunder are mature enough to deal with what's going to come with the Game 7, even with it being in their home court.
Nah, the Thunder got to win. And I'm saying that from the level of their GM, Sam Presti. Sam Presti has to deliver a championship.
After stockpiling picks and shit.
But there's no way that you build these, that you draft and you develop these teams and you get close. He got close with KD, Russ, Harden, you know what I'm saying, Reggie Jackson, Ibaka. Like they had a squad that, you know what I'm saying, that they developed, that they drafted and developed, you know what I'm saying? And they got close, but they didn't quite get over the hump. You know what I'm saying? Now you got SJ, you got Jalen Williams, you got Chet Holmgren. You know what I'm saying? You got a squad.
Who he been selling. Let me say real quick, Chet been selling shit this series. He's now they have a young team, but he ain't really been what I needed, what I've expected him to be. Yeah. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but like they gotta close the deal from his perspective. You had a team with Russ Westbrook, Carmelo, Paul George. You know what I'm saying? Like you built these teams, but nigga, they haven't really
hoisted the Larry.
They ain't put
you gotta hoist Larry above the head for it to mean something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be something worth watching. I do think with them being so young, and I'm not, super into the whole salary cap aspect of things, so I don't know who's gonna be due when, but I know a lot of those young guys will be coming up on deals within these next 2 to 3 years. So to your point, that window is gonna be shrinking.
Window gonna be short.
Even with them being young, the window does shrink a little bit. So that's gonna be something worth watching. Now, let me ask you this, switching off of NBA. Do you be watching the W at all? WNBA?
Absolutely. I'm a Liberty fan. If I'm a Knicks fan, I'm a Liberty fan.
For sure, okay.
And we won the chip last year.
Yeah,
nigga. Shout out to the New York Liberty.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? The defending world champions in the WNBA.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? They brought a chip to New York when the Knicks couldn't. So shout out to the Liberty. I might just rock my Sabrina Ionescu jersey tomorrow.
Yeah, no, that would be tough. I'm up with that for sure. This Caitlin Clark thing has been fascinating to me because anytime, and let me, for the audience. So the the Fever and the Suns were playing each other a couple days ago. And what ended up happening is I think over the span of the game, there might have been like 2 separate incidents with Caitlin Clark where she had gotten bumped, and I think both of them were involved in J.C. Sheldon.
Yep.
She had gotten bumped once, and I think Marina Mabry ended up pushing her.
Hit her in the eye.
Yeah, hit her. Yeah. J.C. Sheldon, I think, hit her. And then, and what's funny, and I'll kind of give the context back on that in a second, but she had gotten pushed that first time, and the second time I think they got into it, she got bumped and actually got bumped to the ground. And so it created this whole narrative, and I've been hearing this for over a year about, they're bullying Caitlin Clark, and even who I know not watching the game feel so emboldened and empowered to have these stupid ass opinions about y'all should be thankful she's the one who's getting eyes on this, that, and the third, not knowing that several teams around the league sell tickets out and they ain't playing Caitlin Clark every night. You know what I'm saying? Like she's good, but she's not the sunrise and the sunset in the W right now. Right. Nafisa Collier, Asia Wilson, like there are better players than her. So
Asia Wilson's the truth.
Yeah, she's real deal.
Got Vegas lit.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's weird to me. And you could kind of probably see why this is happening. She's the great white hope. Right. What would the league like more than not only an American player, but it's a white girl who's going to go out there, and she's nice. I'm not about to do her like that.
Shoot her ass off.
Yeah, she's nice.
She's nice.
And she got good vision and shit. But this kind of she's being targeted, or you need to bend over and acquiesce to kind of how she's getting down and shit just for the sake of and shit because she's bringing eyes to the league. I don't believe that. And especially if you watch games outside of the Fever, the league is competitive. That's something I learned watching it last year.
I feel like the target that Caitlin Clark has on her back, I feel like some of it is self-induced. You know what I'm saying? Because like people are acting like, she's getting bullied. But nigga, she started that.
No, that's a fact.
She started that shit in Iowa when she would do the Tony Yayo, you know what I'm saying? Hand motherfuckers' faces.
For sure.
And then when Angel Reese did that back to her, it was like, she was wrong. But nah, Caitlin was antagonizing motherfuckers too. And people would do it back to her when they beat her. And she ain't win shit.
Following up on that though, is what's funny is even in that incident, for everybody who kept highlighting how she was being done dirty and bullied and so on and so forth, which I'm just not buying. Bro, she walked up to J.C. Sheldon right before the incident and was telling her, because I think J.C. Sheldon, it was a foul or something like that had happened or whatever. And J.C. Sheldon was talking to the ref, and then Caitlin Clark comes over and starts talking, and then J.C. Sheldon was talking to Shorty and was like, "You can't do that." And Caitlin Clark literally goes, What are you talking about? I could do whatever the fuck I
fucking
want to
wanna
do.
do.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
when you do that and then gives JC Sheldon like a little bit of a push, again, this is competitive. So I'm not trying to make it seem like somebody needs to go under the jail for getting into like a little, verbal altercation or whatever the case may be on the court. But this narrative, like she's just this, this helpless girl who's just going out there lacing them up and shooting. That's far from the case. And there's nothing wrong with talking, bro. That's basketball and that's sports in general. And that's what you want to see, especially when you talk about people kind of wanting to bridge the gap between the WNBA and the NBA. A lot of that comes from fan engagement and them being a little bit more comfortable with the competitiveness and not having to feel like everybody's fighting with kid gloves when they're just going out there to hoop.
Right. And I also feel like, as far as Caitlin Clark, there's a few knocks against her that why she's getting the treatment that she gets. First off, you're new to the league.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's your second year.
Yeah.
And you're getting all this hype, all this attention. Nigga, the vets that done been there 4, 5, 6 years.
Building the league.
Building that shit up. It's like, nigga, we don't like that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, man, fuck that. Like, you got to still come in here and prove yourself to us because we don't give a damn. We gonna bow your ass. We gonna foul your ass extra hard. It's not gonna be nice. You know what I'm saying? You just got to overcome that and be tough.
And to your point, though, that's how, because for myself, I didn't start watching the league until she actually got into it. Like when I think her last year in Iowa was when I kind of started really looking more into women's sports just in general, because I had never watched women's basketball. And what she had shown me was, I'm like, okay, yeah, she's nice. And Iowa was good. But I'm started watching more games just around them. You watch a game before or after, and you get more interested in the sport. And you're like, this is not the end all be all, and that's what I think kind of bothers me about the coverage is you would believe based off of how some of these outlets cover it, that the Fever are not, you would think the Fever are not only the best team in the league, but you would think Caitlin Clark is the best player by a country mile. And that's far from the case.
That's not the case. Yeah, she got her highlight reel.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? She gonna pull up.
Yeah.
She gonna knock down some shots. But nigga, it's some hoopers in the WNBA.
Shout out to Nafisa Kaye from the Lynx. Shout out Alyssa Thomas from the Mercury. Alicia Gray from the Atlanta Dream is putting belt to ass this season so far.
My girl Brittany Griner.
Come on, yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so there's definitely more players around the league, and I think that's what kind of disappoints me is the narrative feels like it's exclusively focusing on her, and you getting a bunch of niggas who I know for a fact could not name 5 players in the league right now that are sitting here giving these
Kelsey.
Yeah, giving
Kelsey
impassioned opinions and speaking from a place of knowledge like they've just been watching this whole time. Like, I just don't like that, bro. And I feel like the other women, like I said, that have built the league off their backs and their sweat are not getting nearly enough respect for sustaining the league. Caitlin ain't playing every night. Like, she's nice, but you know what I'm saying? There's more to it. And so I would highly encourage, even for the people that might be super into Caitlin Clark, and she's tough, again, but there's more to the sport and there's better players, and it would behoove everybody if they would look around more than just that one single spotlight.
And you know what else hurts her?
What's up?
She is not vocal on social matters at all.
That was a thing last year.
She tries to keep this neutral position and this neutral stand when it comes to certain things.
Yeah.
And you're in a league where the women are very outspoken.
And it's predominantly black.
Everything. And it's predominantly black. You know what I'm saying? So you really got to, you know what I'm saying, be a voice. And I know we shouldn't look at our social as athletes and entertainers to be like our social compass for certain shit, but let's face it, like they are. You know what I'm saying?
And you have a responsibility.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
The way people follow you today, you have a responsibility, I think, to, at the bare minimum, advocate for what you know to be right and what you know to be is wrong.
Right.
Sitting by and not saying something, I mean, you know, it's a classic phrase, like stand for something or fall for anything. And so I do think that I don't put it on anybody to be the sole savior or the sole representative or the sole advocate of anything. But I do agree with you where it's like, yeah, bro, if you see some foul shit going on, you say foul shit is going on and you just call it how you see it, which even looking in the world right now, bro, and, you know, come on, episode 4, you know we about to get to the real. But, you know, like with what's going on with ICE right now, is crazy. Yeah, you know, like there's
I got a whole think piece on that.
For sure, yeah, and we'll get to that. But there's a whole real world going on outside. And so to not speak on it at all and to exhibit that ignorance is just like, who does that benefit?
Right, nobody.
So, yeah. So I'll say that, wrapping that up, hopefully more people get a chance to watch the W moving forward, and they kind of get a better understanding of what the league has to offer as a whole.
Absolutely, man. One time for my boy Jalen.
Yes,
this is the What More Can We Say podcast.
You better believe it. Wait, hold on. Sorry, before you wrap this up. Last episode, I said a little, jokey joke about how I'm going to talk about my baby mamas on the next episode. I ain't got no baby mamas. I wanted to be very clear. My family hit me on about that, and they was talking to me like, what the hell do you got somebody going on that we don't know about? And da-da-da-da. I was just being funny, y'all. I have a little jokey joke here and there. You'll get used to the humor, you know what I'm saying? But I have no kids.
Stop lying. He got one on the way.
See, look, here we go. Niggas be joking and shit. Wrap the show up, please, bro. Come on, I'm about to get up out of here before I get in trouble again.
Man, y'all know what it is, man. What More Can We Say podcast. Yes, I go by the name Radio Guy Stu. It's my boy Jalen.
Absolutely.
Make sure y'all hit that like, comment, subscribe, share button. Do whatever you got to do. Tell a friend to tell a friend.
For sure.
The boys are back again.
What more can we say?
Right back. Episode 4 on the way.
Yes, sir.
Y'all know what it is.
Believe it.